Okay, so we're going to ask you a couple of questions, Mr. Mendel. Where were you born?
Well, I was born in Hazendorf ben Udra, Austin Empire, now Haisis, Czech Republic.
When were you born?
Well, I was born July 20th, 1822.
What language did you speak?
Well, I spoke German.
What was your family like?
Well, I was the son of Antoine and Roseanne, and had one older sister, Veronica, and one younger, Teresa.
When were you given your name Gregor?
I was given the name Gregor when I was accepted into the monastery as a teacher.
What kind of education did you have?
After I had entered the monastery, I studied chemistry and zoology at the University of Vienna.
Is this where you began your famous genetic studies?
Yes, this is where it all began.
What exactly did you do?
Well, I crossbred 2 different pea plants.
What were you looking for?
Well, I was looking for 7 different traits and phenotypes.
What is a phenotype?
Well, a phenotype is the outer traits of a living thing, the physical traits.
Before we get any further, how long did it take you to do this?
About 8 years.
Okay, now back to the experiment. What were these traits?
Well, flower color, whether it's purple or white, seed color, whether it's yellow or green, flower position, pod shape, is it inflated or constricted, the stem length, long or short, pod color, yellow or green, seed shape, round or wrinkled.
You didn't just stop right there, did you?
No, I named this F1 for phase 1, and then took this and bred this with the purebred pea plants.
What do you mean?
Well, I took the hybrid or heterozygous, which means have a dominant and recessive gene, with a purebred or homozygous, which meant they have 2 dominant or recessive genes. We use the recessive purebred.
And what were the results of this F2?
Well, I noticed that it was about a 50-50 chance of the recessive phenotype to show up.
Did you come up with any laws?
The law of segregation states that every individual processes of a pair of alleles for any particular trait, and that parent passes a randomly selected copy of only one of these to its offspring. The offspring then receives its own pair of alleles of the gene and for that trait by inheriting sets of homozygous chromosomes. For the parent organisms, interactions between alleles and a single locus are determined dominance, and these influence how the offspring expresses that trait. The law of segregation states that 2 alleles for their heritable character segregate gamete formation and end up in different gametes. The law of independent assortment, also known as the inheritance law, states that separate genes for separate traits are passed independently of one another from parents to offspring. That is, the biological selection of the particular gene in the gene pair for trait to be passed on to the offspring.
Well, I don't think so.
Alright, so if you don't mind me asking, when did you die?
Yeah,
January 6th, 1884.
Whoa.
Okay, that is concluded.